Banger! Coming up this weekend, set for the small cage at the UFC's Apex, Anthony Hernandez looking to put his 2-fight streak on the line, make it 3 against Gatineau, Quebec, Canada's own Powerbar, Marc-Andre Barriault. Matt, this is a great fight. This is one that's in the Fight Night Picks wheelhouse. And for Marc-Andre Barriault, his last time out, he kind of went to Taco Bell looking for that mild sauce, and he turned it into Diablo because he was coming off a knockout loss, a very quick knockout loss in under 20 seconds to Chitty Bang Bang and Joe Kwani. He was in the co-main event this weekend. Well, he took that loss and then, 2.5 months later went to fight a knockout striker in Jordan Wright. You might go, well, Craig, that's poppycock. Beverly Hills Ninja, knockout striker. If he doesn't knock you out, he gets finished. And so for Jordan Wright in that matchup, I thought, well, geez, this is very volatile. I'll go with Barriault because he's got that complete skill set, but the threat of a knockout loss that quickly getting back into the cage always kind of makes you wonder. And for Barriault, well, he threw and closed the distance. Wright went for a defensive submission. Barriault was able to go with that guillotine, roll at the end up with a submission win. It looked very good. And for Barriault in the UFC, he started off 0-3, losing to Andrew Sanchez, Christophe Jocko, and Jun Young Park. And if we're playing MMA math out there, yes, Anthony Hernandez beat Jun Young Park. So Anthony Hernandez wins this weekend. That's how MMA math works. The no contest that Barriault has is to Oscar Piata. He beat him pillar to post and looked amazing in that fight. Since that fight, he's had a win over Abu Zaitsar. He's got a win over Dalcha Linjambula, the loss to Joe Kwani, and the aforementioned win over Jordan Wright. Barriault, though, it's interesting because since he switched up camps from going to Canada down to Killcliff FC, he's kind of added the component of striking into the clinch and just made it a little bit better and accentuated into his game. But he will rock him, sock him, and that can get him caught.
It definitely can against some of the better strikers in this division. And that's the weird thing about Anthony Hernandez. We talk a lot about his jiu-jitsu, and a lot of that does come off his win over Rodolfo Vieira. Like when you submit a guy as good as the black belt Hunter, you're probably going to be, or you're going to get your own grappling talked about quite a bit. But the thing about Hernandez is he can crack on the feet quite well and has really good power shots. And he has close range power too, which is surprising to see from a long, lankier guy in this weight division. And that's why this fight could be really interesting. I could see us getting a weird like Daniel Cormier Stipe 1 knockout where it's like a weird in tight clinch shot and someone just goes down, because for Barriault, he is going to get into that spot. He is going to work the clinch, try to wear on the arms of Hernandez, because if you can wear him out to where he's not that knockout puncher, then okay, you've dealt with half of his game plan. And you're just going to make sure you're sound defensively on the mat, and you're probably going to be able to work your way to a decision. And I hate it when you simplify a fight to this effect, but this fight more than any on the card comes down to if Barriault can make it somewhat boring, and you're right, he has added more striking into his game. He's not just the solely takedown artist that he formerly once was, but still, if he uses that wrestling, uses the top pressure, can mix in good volume numbers with his boxing, I definitely think he can work his way to a really one-sided, like, unanimous decision, 30-26 type error, if we're being honest. But the flip side is, Hernandez is definitely the more heavy-handed of the two on the feet, and Barriault leaves enough openings in his striking to make you think, wow, if Hernandez can catch him with a big shot, maybe not look for follow-up ground and pound, just jump for a submission, that's a pretty easy way to win if you're him.
The weird thing in this matchup is they can both strike, and it's in very different ways. When you look at it from Marc-Andre Barriault, as much as I said he's going to throw with reckless abandon, he's going to kind of throw like a rock'em sock'em robot, everything's fairly tight, and it's not at a long range. He's using that kind of tight, short range to then bait you in a little bit, and then he pushes you up against the cage, then he clinches, and the uppercuts, the knees. Again, I talk about this fight all the time, but his fight against the, what is it? Is it the War Master? The War Master was Josh Burnett. The War Hammer, Adam Burnett, Adam Hunter, out of Fredericton, New Brunswick, Canada, where we're based. I'm all over the place, but it's Adam Hunter, like the comedian. War, I think it's somewhere around there. Regardless,
I believe you, Craig.
His win with TKO, he was, of course, Marc-Andre Barriault, the middleweight and light heavyweight champ over there. Hernandez was the LFA middleweight champ. He got a win over Barriault's former training partner, Brendan Allen, to win that belt with LFA. But if you look at it for Hernandez in the UFC, it's been a weird mixed bag. He loses to Maluko Marcus Perez, who's no longer with the promotion, got submitted there. He then submits Jun Young Park. He gets knocked out by Kevin Holland, gets knee to the body, drops, and then ground and pound. He beats Adolfo Vieira, loses one-sidedly in the first round, and then he comes back and looks amazing as it goes on. And then he fought Josh Fremd his last time out. And Anthony Hernandez just threw from odd angles. His feet were kind of off place, but he was just kind of like throwing against the taller Fremd, a former big-time fighter with LFA, never won the belt, but never the bridesmaid, always the bride, or never the bride, always the bridesmaid. I can't get any of my sayings right today. But my point is, Hernandez was kind of all over the place with his long shots trying to land. But out of that, he was able to close the distance and then rinse and repeat with his takedowns. We're going to talk a little bit later on about Bill Algeo's fight against Herbert Burns, where he exhausted him to the point where Burns couldn't get up off the mat, and then he just couldn't get up off the chair. He was very tired.
He was.
Hernandez did that same thing to Josh Fremd and completely overwhelmed him with his wrestling. Went for so many slick transitions in that grappling. Looked very good in that fight. I'm just eager to see if he can do the same thing against Barriault, because I don't think he can employ that game plan against Barriault.
Oh, I don't either. Barriault's someone who will be the same version of himself from round 1 to round 3. Yes, he's going to tire like any normal human would, but for the most part, the style itself is going to be very similar. And that's why I kind of like him as the underdog in this matchup. I like the steadiness of his game, and I really like his ability to get rid of separation between him and his opponent. I think at distance, Hernandez is a dangerous fight for him. He does have that odd power that could catch him from a weird angle and then, like I said, open up a submission for Hernandez. But if you're just asking me who's going to win more rounds, I think Barriault's the safer pick in that respect.
Yeah, you do look at it. I mean, so much control time, so many takedowns for Hernandez's last time out. Good power, nice jab, good leg kicks, really thunderous leg kicks. And then a little bit of a reset, but all at weird angles. So you look at the odds. Hernandez open -150, -175. Barriault open +130, +145 as it stands. We look at the fan vote, Matt, on Topology. It's surprised to us there to you. I've seen a lot of people talking about this fight already, which is fun because I love the fight as much as I love sayings that I can't utter out of my mouth properly. But we look at the fan vote. I'm going to say over under 70% Hernandez. I think the fans like him.
I think it'll be over, honestly.
I think it's going to be over? Look at that. It's slightly over. 833 total votes, 73% Hernandez, 60% by decision, 25% by submission, 8% by knockout for the 27% that have Barriault, 62% by decision, 24% by knockout. The one fight that I like out of Barriault, and people might not want to hear this, is the fight that he had against Dalcha Lunjambula, where he's taken down a couple of times, but he pops right back up, and then he employs his own game. I like that out of Barriault. I like the steadiness out of him. That's why I have him in this fight. I like the tight shots, and I like the gas tank. I like Barriault here enough, and the fact that he's an underdog was a little bit of a surprise to me just before making this video. I thought he'd actually be the favorite.
Well, Hernandez has the better chance of winning this by stoppage, without a doubt. Again, I like his jiu-jitsu for finishing sake, I'll say that. And I like his striking more for his power, but the consistency of Barriault is really hard to pick against in this fight. Hernandez has relied on his opponents to gas out at a certain point in their fights before he really takes over. That's a pretty hard game plan to have. You're fighting a guy like Barriault who can keep a very steady pace from 1 minute to 15. So I do agree with you. I like the underdog.
Marc-Andre Barriault coming from the side of the river that has the Museum of National History. And if you go to the other side of the river, you have the War Museum across in Ottawa. Matt, both of us going with Gatineau, Quebec, Canada's own Powerbar Marc-Andre Barriault to get the win. A c'est le but. Let's see if he can do it. Big time fight coming up this weekend. Let us know in the comments section if we were wrong, because you will. We have a big time main event between Corey Sandhagen and Song Yadong that you're not going to want to miss. So keep it locked in with Fight Night Picks. We always say, let's get into it.